All right. Can I get everyone's attention, please? Can you guys hear me at the back? Yeah. Okay. So welcome. This is the ORT 2022-2023 talk. So yeah, let's just start. Also, apologies for the delay, a lot of technical difficulties. This is like our first year doing this event, so a lot of unanticipated things that we ran into. So first of all, the team. I'm not the ORT team lead, nor am I like the permanent vice team lead. I'm actually the vice team lead for the competitions management team, the team that like oversees all 5 competitions. But for the time being, I'm a temporary vice team lead for ORT. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. The actual team lead, George Newton, he couldn't be here today right now, unfortunately. So feel free to email him as well. Fun. Yeah, okay. And yeah, we have also 1 volunteer. We're hiring more volunteers as we speak. There's adverts at UKSEDS Space Careers, but obviously you guys can't apply because you're competing. But like just mentioning for you that like the team is gonna grow as the competition progresses. Okay. So for today's topics, we're gonna go over the competition overview, what the competition is about today, more or less. We're gonna go to like stages of the competition, what you're gonna be doing over each stage, and we'll go over like the timeline of these stages, the competition rules, like mainly what changed, what didn't change. We'll go over like old stuff if you're like competing for the first year as well. Some technical specifications that change within every single year installment. So even if you already took part, that will be new. Document requirement specifications. So again, what do you actually have to submit for this competition? What you will be asked for, all the deliverables for this competition, we'll go over them. And just to give you a bit of context, I joined the UKSEDS like a while ago. Before that, I took part in the ORT competition in the year where it was fully online because of COVID. I got 3rd place without actually building the rover. Like my team and I got 3rd place without building the rover. We were the only team that could build the rover. We were very international, very pandemic quarantined. So none of us could really get to Bristol. Yes, I'm University of Bristol student. And we actually managed to get 3rd place. So never say never, even though some people build the rover and we beat them. So saying as long as you have the right methodology, right design specifications, right design selections, you should be okay to go. All right, so the competition overview. As you guys know, our team is basically planning to be the next step for us to colonize Mars or build bases on Mars, whatever you want to call it. I know colonize is like term with some people. So to do that, we need to basically do that base on the moon first. But that's what our team is for. That's not what we're going to worry about. We care more about Mars in this competition. This is where you come into play. You're going to plan for us. So if you're going to build a colony or a base or anything, you need good logistics, really reliable logistics, because as you know, space missions, it's do or do not. If you fail, you can't like fix it unless you're going to like send a spaceship and wait for like a couple of months later. So you need to know that your equipment that you're going to send, the rovers, your logistical systems are going to be reliable during the mission. That's where you come into play, because obviously we can't just do that with humans for obvious reasons. Martian environment's not going to be the best. Machines don't run out of energy, cannot be damaged as much as humans, unfortunately. So yes, this is like your main focus for this mission is going to be the logistical part of building a Martian base. So the overall mission: collect and transport cargo delivered from orbit by a large logistics lander, also known as L3. So don't worry too much about that. To sites within 5 kilometers of the logistics depot. Return spent or produced cargo from these sites back to the depot for repair, reuse, or delivery back to orbit. So that's just like giving you the backstory of what is going to be. So you're going to have like a really big a logistics depot with like different sites around it, and your logistical mission is going to be go to the logistics depot, take the supplies and take them back to the sites, and some of the supplies back to the depot to be fixed, to be reused. That's the whole point. Like that's the whole backstory of the competition for now. So So before I continue here, how many of you are familiar with Dragon Den? Raise of hands. Okay, so for those who don't know, okay, Shark Tank. Shark Tank, if you don't know, yeah. So basically, Dragon Den is more of like the UK Shark Tank. Please don't hate me for saying that. Okay, so more or less, we're trying to make this as realistically as possible with coordination with like companies like Airbus. So what does that mean? It means in real life, companies, they like, even if you're as big as SpaceX, for example, I don't know if you guys know, but like Blue Origin and SpaceX, when they got like the Artemis clearance to do the like Starship to be used for Artemis, they had to bid for it. They had to actually show NASA, like NASA doesn't build the actual stuff, they just give them the money. And they need to bid for it. They need to show their documentation, their projects, showcase them, tell them, yeah, it is viable, it's reliable, we know how to do this and this and that, which is the requirement that you need. We need this much money, because obviously you can build the best thing ever, but you can like come over and ask for $1 billion from that, and that's so you're gonna need to show that budget is a really important thing. Your management is a really important thing. You as a company can function as a systems engineering level as well, not just good with like the technical stuff. You need to show that yes, as a system, we're a good managed team. We know we have a good budget and we can meet the requirements. And this is what the competition is trying to implement this year. This is the very first new thing we're doing, and Airbus is the one that actually asked us to do this, because they as well need to do this with ESA, for example, with the ExoMars rover, for example. They had to bid for it. They had to go to ESA, show them their documentation, and tell them, hey, this is what we want to do. Moreover than that, like other than just bidding, they need to submit documents every single month showing their progress. Because after you take the bid from ESA, they're investing in you. They can't just invest in you and then tell you, okay, go away for a year and then we'll ask about the progress. No, they keep like update. They need to stay updated with you every couple of like months, weeks. It really depends how close you are to the mission deadline. And this is what you will be doing with your mentors and what you will be kind of doing with us. It's not going to be a very technical of a document, but we are planning to implement a document that asks you to give us updates. Tell us if you're stuck. It's fine. Everyone gets stuck. We're expecting that you're doing this for the... I do not expect anyone in this room or anyone on the online thing to know how to build a Martian rover. When I first did this, I had no clue what to do when I'm building a rover, let alone a one for Mars, a one that withstands vibrations from a rocket launch. You don't know any of this. We understand. We just want you to tell us when you're stuck. Tell your mentors, tell the management team, tell anyone. Just don't sit there and be demotivated, because that's normal. That's part of the competition. Get stuck, that's part of the competition. Research, part of the competition. Don't know what the hell to do. That's part of the competition. That's fine. That means you're doing something right. You're asking the questions that you should not know the answer to. So if you get stuck, please don't be demotivated. That's what it's supposed to be. So you're gonna have to present your design. As I said, you're gonna present it to a team of judges, not just from Airbus. We can have judges from other companies as well. I can't name companies right now just because I don't have them all off the top of my head. And if I name a company that's not going to be there, we have legal trouble. So sorry, but Airbus is all I can say right now. So more onto the technical stuff. Your primary mission is going to be transversing the cargo area, the rover to the cargo area, which means the rover will have to go from its starting position to the logistics depot where the most logistics and most like cargo is going to be, right? You're gonna have to do this while like going over slopes, around rocks, or over rocks if your rover can build that. If you do that, I'll honestly be impressed if you can go over a rock. Just saying. Down slopes, and then take the what's called, yeah, the cargo, and then go back to the site. And then from the site, you're going to take the ones that are supposed to be taken to the depot again back. I know this is confusing. This is why I have this to explain it more. Okay, so I don't have anything to point with here. So just, yeah. So S is the delivery site. The sites where like they're smaller. Logistics depot, LD, is where everything is like, this is where like the L3 will drop most of your supplies. You're supposed to go from either the control room over there or from here. I'm not sure, to be honest. But your rover will have to maneuver all the way from either of these positions to the LD, take a standardized cargo. Important to say standardized, you're going to understand this later. I'll get into more details about that. And then from the LD, go to one of the delivery sites. And then from the delivery sites, you have to put the cargo inside that slot. So don't just drop it and go. No, you have to put it inside a slot. And while on the way from the LD to the S, you have to stow it safely, it being the cargo. You need to have the cargo stowed safely. Make your way to the delivery site. Put the cargo in its slot, its intended slot, and then take standardized or unstandardized cargo from the delivery site back to the logistics depot to be reused or whatever. Again, you have to put it in its slot. It might be a standardized cargo or not. I'll get into that more later. Is there any questions about this? Sure, go ahead. We'll get into that in a second. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. You say that we go to LD, that's our cargo, and then drop it in.
Yes, and then put it in S in a specified slot, and then take cargo from F back to LD in a specified slot. Yes?
Can you take 3 cargo and go to G through?
If you can do that, I'll honestly give you my position here in UKSEDS. Yes?
We have access to these presentations later.
Yes, download it. I'm recording all this right now, and this will be downloaded as set to every single team. All right. Okay. Moving on. Trials layout. So this is the ExoMars. If you're not familiar with it, I hope so. If I'm wrong, this will be really embarrassing. So the competition is about 2 days. First of all, the first day is going to be in Airbus Stevenage, where you get access to their Mars yard. This is where they actually test their actual real life, going to space, going to Mars rovers. This is the ExoMars and the Mars yard. The Mars yard is as realistic as humans can make Mars on Earth. You will not get the specifications of it though, because if we give you that, there is no test for you, because space engineers right now, rover engineers, whatever you want to call them, they don't have that. Aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers, they don't have this information. They don't know. Like they can take information from past rovers. You can do that as well, but they don't know the actual specifications. Just because we made it here at Earth doesn't mean you get to know them. That's why we're not going to give you specifications of like friction coefficients or whatnot. You can do your own research. You can see papers, what they suggest from data from Curiosity, Perseverance, whatnot. Sure, go ahead. But the actual like surface will not be given to you. That's part of the challenge. And yes, for the first day, so what I explained here, this is the Mars yard in actual Airbus Stevenage. We'll get you clearance for the day. We'll ask for a bunch of vetting stuff, but that's something to worry about later on. But yes, you'll go to the Mars yard yourself and you'll test your rovers, which I find super amazing. Very jealous from all of you because my rover never even became a physical thing, but third place. And then that's the first day. Second day, however, this is where a lot of your rovers, if you do not do your engineering right, will be destroyed. What do I mean by that? Vibration test. Up until now, I cannot confirm where the vibration tests will be just for legal reasons, but I can tell you last year it was done in Harnwell cluster. Does anyone know the Harnwell cluster? Harnwell cluster? So the Harnwell cluster is where basically a lot of space companies are based in the UK. It's a cluster of companies basically built around ESA, and this is where. Can they hear me in the laptop? I keep moving away. So this is like where a lot of companies are based. ESA, Route Space, Oxford Space Systems, you name it really. I'm not sure Airbus is there just because Airbus tend to have their own big sites on their own, but it's a really big cluster of companies. It's where you would wish to work if you wanted to get into the space industry. This is where I'm applying to right now, so yay. So last year, they did it in RAL space. This is, again, where they actually have a vibration plate made for rovers to go into space. Not just rovers, CubeSats as well. Anything that's really going to be launched needs to survive the vibrations of a launch test. If you've seen a rocket launch, you know it's really harsh, the vibrations that the payload goes through during launch. And we need to make sure that your rover is going to stand that or withstand that while going to Mars. Because if it breaks inside the rocket, then what good is it, right? So that's one thing. That's going to be your second competition day. They're totally in two different places, but we'll get into that. Don't get demotivated. We have a surprise for you. So competition phases. Phase 1. This is going to be the thing that you're gonna get started on as soon as you could. I'm not gonna say tomorrow, let's be realistic here, but as soon as you could, the PDR, which stands for Preliminary Design Review. So what do you have inputs for the PDR? Nothing, you're gonna tell me? Yeah, I agree. You have the competition statement of work. What is that? The competition statement of work comes from the rules and requirements document, which you will have access to in the community hub, and we'll send it over. Unfortunately, we have a very, very initial first draft. I made sure for that. I am sure 100% that it can get you through the PDR, and we'll send the more detailed final one that will last you till the CDR later on. But this one will definitely last you till the PDR, so don't worry about it. If it doesn't look very full, very detailed, don't worry. You don't need any information that you're not missing any information that you need in the PDR. You have my word. Okay, so you're gonna get your statement of the competition statement from that rules and requirements. You need to show us that you understood the rules and requirements, put it into a statement, and then start your PDR. So what do you do in the PDR? You first of all look at the requirements, try to meet them in the most basic way. Well, not the most basic way, but you're starting from zero, right? And again, not expecting any initial experience here. That's totally fine. Try to meet the requirements just as student meeting the requirements of any coursework, really. Try to meet the requirements, look at what they're asking for, see how you can solve them as a solution on a rover. Solution can be more technical, more innovative. We'll get into that as well, but just try to meet the requirements, look at them as a first-hand thing. Don't think of like, oh, past rovers did this, did that. You can use that, but don't use it to start. Like, don't look at Perseverance and then use that to start, because they themselves did not use that to start. You look at the requirements, look at the problem, look at potential solutions, and weigh them against each other. Define the system level configuration for the rover. Can anyone tell me what does that mean? Come on, don't be shy. Yeah.
Look at the requirements and go, oh, I think this is an idea would work. So you then put how document go, here's the solution I'm planning on doing, here's what the costs. And then, yeah.
Kind of, not quite there, but kind of. Yep. Sorry?
Something like a system block diagram.
What do you mean by system log diagram?
Like just a diagram, just system maybe or diagram.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
One more try. If you get it right, I'll give you a point. I'll give you an extra point for your team. Come on. I'm not joking here. Yeah, okay, sure. Go ahead again.
I'm going to guess that it's something like, so you look at all the different requirements, come up with a preliminary design. And that preliminary design is set off. Well, I guess ideally that means you so normally it would be by the client or whoever it is. So I guess
Okay. Okay, so the system level configuration. You need to, when I said, does anyone here is familiar with systems engineering overall? Raise of hands. Okay. Can anyone tell me? Do you want to tell me? If not, that's fine. You don't have to speak. Okay, that's fine. So systems engineering, is basically more or less the management of the project. It's not actually any technical stuff. Like, there is technicality, but technicality in management, not technicality as in like CAD drawings or whatever. But you need to have, for example, your CAD drawings managed right. You need to have them labeled. So how do you do that? Well, you split your teams and your team into sub-teams. You have systems being sub-team, then sub to them. So, for example, you can have a team for structures only, a team for power and propulsion, team for vibration only if you like. But does that make sense though? Wouldn't it be in structures? That's how you're gonna start to think about it. You need to show us that you're considering this in a management way, in a systems engineering way. And we understand that a lot of you don't know what systems engineering is. It's fine. We don't expect you to know this. This is why the team lead, George Newton, at the start of this, at around 5th of December, will be giving a systems engineering talk. And I really urge all of you to attend it because it will be asked from you to understand it and show it in the PDR. Yes?
Will that workshop be
online? Online, yes. Yeah, we understand that this is not feasible to do every single month. And after you do both those things, you're gonna realize you have two outcomes out of this: a PDR, a document where you can list all what you did. You try to meet the requirements, show this in a methodological way, shows your methodology, show us your chosen requirements process. Yes. Okay. And then also show us the Rover concept design. Show us how all your choices, how all your design choices, how your systems engineering came up with a very rough design. I'm not just saying CAD here. No. Like, talk about your arm, for example, your chassis, your wheels, your cameras. And when I say cameras, I say it for one main reason. I don't think I mentioned. The control room where you will be is about 30 meters away from the logistic people. If you're gonna have to, this is already too far, but imagine if you're asked or tasked to go to delivery site as the furthest right. You're not gonna be able to see anything. And it's not real. We're trying to make this as realistic as possible, which means it will not be realistic from you to think you can see on Mars by a telescope, for example. You need cameras on your rover, which is why we ask you to use cameras, and we need to see which cameras you chose and why and how many cameras. Maybe I'm just throwing it out there. Yes.
Will the rover need to be autonomous like that?
I'll get into that later on. So, any questions about the PDR? All right. CDR. So after you do your preliminary design review, you submit it, judges will review it, and they'll give you feedback. And just saying, for the PDR, it's just feedback. You will not get disqualified. You will not get removed from the competition just from the PDR. We understand this is like your very first, this might be your very first technical document of an engineering project. Whether you're an engineer or not, maybe you're just like doing the budgets, maybe you're doing the electronics part, maybe you're doing the business part of it, but you want to get into space. That's totally fine, by the way, because we need you for the Dragon Den thing. You need to understand that some of your team will need to focus solely on the presentation part. And this is where you need to understand that PDR will give you very essential feedback to start on your CDR, critical design review. This is where it gets critical. We need to see actual methodological feasible rovers. Why? Because you're going to have your rover design, concept design, which you're going to have from your PDR. Don't scrap it. If you get bad feedback, doesn't mean start from over. Never do that. Work on what you did, because what you did will never be so wrong, and you can always fix it. That's what engineering is about. It's like getting feedback, fixing the problem. Don't just start all over, because you're gonna face new problems that you're not gonna have feedback about. Again, and the PDR feedback. So what do you do with that? You finalize the detailed design, work on the feedback, work on the method, on the concept that you already had, and always keep in mind the requirements. Do not forget the requirements. It will be very easy by the time of the CDR that you forget what the requirements are actually. You realize you're just building the rover for the sake of it, and you forgot what the requirements are. What is the rover actually going to be tasked for? It's not actually going to Mars. You need to be realistic about this. It's not actually going to Mars. It's going to a Mars yard. What do we need to do for that? What are we going to face? A nice thing that, like, when I was supervising teams in University of Bristol, they kept asking me for the PDR. They found it easy to start, but then for the CDR, they'd come to me and say, Mohammed, what do? We don't know how to start. I told them one thing, and it helped our team a lot, especially like being online. Just picture yourself on the competition day. You arrived. This is the Mars yard right in front of you. What do you do? Literally, what is the first thing you do? You have the prototype, you have your rover, it's done, it's amazing, it's the best engineering design that's ever been built on Earth. Okay, we agree on that. What do? Do you turn it on? Do you turn the battery on? If you turn the battery on, how will you turn it on? Is the battery outside? Is the battery inside the chassis? How can you reach the battery if it's inside the chassis? Get into very detailed thought processes. Very, very detailed. Every single movement you do on the competition day, from the second you reach the Mars yard until the very end of the mission, which is putting the cargo into the last slot from the delivery site to the logistics depot. Think of every single movement you're going to do. The remote controller, how it's going to move. How are you going to move it even? How fast will the rover get my movement of my finger? If I move like this on the remote control, how fast will the rover move? Can I fix the problem if the rover flips or something? If it gets stuck, what do I do? Think about every single bad scenario and how you fix it. Because if you don't, trust me, the bad scenarios will happen, but then you won't be having the answers to them. And this is where we will mark you down, because we realize, well, you didn't think this through, did you? The outputs, again, after you do all this, you will have a detailed rover design. You will have a prototype result with testing results. How will you do that? Well, this is where you actually start building prototypes. Getting data, research data only, is not going to get you far in the CDR. You need to start building some, testing them. Strength-wise, we understand not all of you here can do FEA. When I did the ORT competition, I didn't know any FEA. To save my life, to be honest, I couldn't do FEA. We learned it online by ourselves, and to be honest, it was really bad. We did really bad FEA. Now that I look at it as a fourth year of space engineering student, that was so bad. How did no wonder we didn't get the best CDR. That's okay. Prototype. The reason why we didn't get the best CDR is because we didn't have prototypes. You need to start building prototypes. You need to actually see the stuff, know their strength, know how they would act against. If you have a garden at your house, test it in your garden. That's what our year actually did. So the winners of our year literally built their rover and tried it in someone's house in their backyard. That's fine. Do that. Don't worry about it. We need to see you try. Again, you're going to end up, after putting all this into documentation, into a nice presentable way, you're going to have your CDR and a presentation of the design given at the CDR. What does that mean? This is where we will ask you for the drag and den stuff. This is where we will ask you, come and represent your design. Show us that we can actually invest. Because after the CDR, this is where you actually fail and get disqualified, or you pass and you get funding from us. This is where companies come after prototyping, after, for example, SpaceX, prototyping and testing with many boosters and failing multiple times. I'm sure all of you saw the YouTube video. A lot of failed boosters, a lot of failed landings, and then they succeeded. And then they went to NASA saying, we can do this with the Starship. And they were like, fine, go ahead, have our money. And they gave them their money. If you want our money, if you want us to let you build your rover and come over to Airbus and the vibration testing site, I don't know where it will be. Anyways, you need to show us that it's actually feasible. You need to come to us, present it to us, money-wise, requirements-wise, environmental-wise as well. We don't want you to build something that's like non-environmental friendly or dangerous. I won't give too much info about that because that's for you to figure out. But this is where, when you do your CDR, you will have to give us a presentation to convince us that we let you to go through with the competition. Yes, we had a question in the back.
Yeah, I think I was asking, did you say what?
Yes, I'm very sorry about that. Finite element analysis. It's basically, if there's a pen around here. Yeah. You model this pen on computer basically, and you model when you push down what happens in its structural integrity and when will it be broken, basically. So you model forces on computer designs. Is there a question on the back? Okay, all right. So, oh no, not that, yeah. Build and test. After you pass the CDR, hopefully all of you do, after you pass the CDR, you'll get the go ahead from us. We'll tell you, okay, that's an amazing design. Go ahead and build it. But we will tell you what was wrong in your CDR. When you pass the CDR, don't expect because you passed that you built the best design ever and you have no problems in your design. We're going to give you feedback. Take it seriously. When I say we, it's not even UKSEDS. It's actual engineers and experts from the industry, not just engineers as well, but experts from the industry that showed, like, that first of all saw your drag and then pitch, your pitch of the maybe you had a problem with the pitch. Just keep that in mind. And also the technical stuff. Maybe something engineering wise or technical wise was not right. Maybe your electronics were not set up right. Maybe you can set them in a better way. Maybe your communication did not appeal to because these people will also probably be similar to the people judging your device at the competition, your design at the competition day. Make sure you take their feedback very seriously. That's the first thing you start with. After the CDR, the first thing you start with the next phase, when you get their feedback, do that. Take it as a priority. The next thing, prototype testing. Oh, yeah. So you're going to have that, and you already know the prototype. How did it act? 5 minutes. You said 1 hour. Okay. So I'm going to have to rush here. You're going to have the prototype testing from the PDR, from the CDR feedback. You have already the detailed design you reached a conclusion to during your CDR. So you have a go ahead from us. You have the money from us. Construct the rover, test the systems and operation of the rover. You're going to have to build it and test it before the competition day, obviously. And then by the end of that, you're going to have a constructed rover that is tested, that you know how it functions. And you're going to have to show us the test readiness review. What is that? It's basically a video. Record it on a phone, on a potato. I don't even care. Just record the thing and... Sorry? Okay. Just have the rover functioning in front of us on a video and let us know that's it. I'm sorry, I can't take any more questions because of the time. I'm really sorry. Okay, moving on. So the competition schedule. Detailed deadline for competition submissions. Yeah, of the competitions. You already did that, so don't worry about that. Requirements freeze, October 31st. Oh, this is not accurate at all, is it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, okay. All right. So the requirement freeze is supposed to be on the 12th of November. So today we're freezing the requirements and you're going to take the requirements today. And I will update this and get back to you and send them over. It should be updated on the rules and requirements. Again, this was really last minute because I was, the team lead had to go for army stuff. So interesting. Yes, he's reserve. We don't have time. Funding. So you're going to realize that, fun fact, ORT, most expensive competitions. So yeah, you're the people who suck our money away. It's very expensive. Why? It takes so many equipments. You're gonna realize when you're doing it that you're gonna need a lot of intricate equipments. Your cameras, even if you try to cheap out, it's not gonna be cheap. Like even if you choose the cheapest equipment, it's not gonna be cheap. And you don't have to choose the cheapest equipment. We understand this is expensive. We're gonna give you a reference of how much we expect. Actually, I'm not sure about that last sentence, but you need to understand that cheaping out is not the best. There is a trade-off here between how much money you spend and how good your design is. You can spend as much as you want, but yeah, your design is going to be really good, but we're not going to give you that much money. So there is a trade-off here that you need to balance. So again, how do you do that? We're going to help you out. Each team that passes the CDR, you have to pass the CDR for this. Again, for us to give you your money, you're going to have to pitch the design, everything. We're going to match the funding that you get from external resources. I gave you an example here, external resources as in your department, your university student union. We can match it up to £250. Over that, we cannot match it. If you got 300 from your university, we're just going to give you 250. If you got 200 from them, we're going to give you 200. It's just matched funding base, and we're going to need to see evidence. So you're going to have to spend it out first and then see evidence, and then we reimburse you. It's not that you give us quotes and we send it back to you. That's just not how the bank allows us to work. Treasurer can't have a control in it as well. She's a really sweet woman, but no one can control that. The bank is the bank. So if there's any finance students here, I really hate you. But yeah, and you can't spend the money on anything other than the Rover. Will be paid in arrears post-competition. Again, after the competition is done, we're going to pay you. And did I forget anything? No. Yeah, you just need to send us evidence, bill of materials, receipts. Again, bill of materials, you need to show us how many, if you buy screws, you need to show us how much or from where did you buy them and how much did they cost and how many screws did you buy. Not just receipts. Travel bursaries. As I mentioned, you're going to Stevenage, you're going to Harwell. It's both really far. Well, you're not going to Harwell. I did not say that, but you might. Both really far. And if you're like living in, I don't know, London, Harwell might be far away. I'm very bad with geography of UK, but basically you need to travel, and you need to travel for a whole team. Coach is probably what you're going to use. So this is where we get travel bursaries to help you attend the competition days. So why? To support teams to fund travel to competition day and workshops. We can't pay for travel for every single team that arrives to the competition. It's just not feasible. We're a charity over here. We're actually a charity. We can't do that. So what do? We prioritize teams that are furthest or travel or spend the most. But I need to clarify something. For example, I from Bristol, I came to London in a coach. Why? I could have came in train, just because UKSEDS spend like paying for my travels here. If you, for example, do the same trip, just a 2-hour trip, okay, that could have been 3 hours on coach. While you went for like super off-peak train tickets, we're not gonna pay for that, just because we see what you're doing. I'm sorry, but again, we're a charity. Our main focus here is to pay for your Rovers, pay for your travels as much as possible, and we can pay only up to 50% of your receipt. So you're really going to be hurting yourself here, because that's money out of your pocket. So keep that in mind. One thing to cheap out on, it's not a trade-off, travels, yes. Outreach grant. We want to make this as popular as possible. I know one of the teams actually did something really great with their outreach program. I'm not sure if they're here. I'm not sure I won't actually say what they did for this year, but they are publicizing their Rover. And that's really nice. Do outreach programs, make events, host events, like just do anything that will make your program for the Rover public. And but before you do, if you think it will cost you money, send it over to us, get approval from us. We're going to fund the whole thing for you, or at least tell you how much we can fund from it. So you can collaborate with that in like your local SEDS branch or whatever, but please get approval from us first, because if we do not approve it and you just send us a receipt afterwards, we cannot guarantee that we can pay for that. Okay, what is happening? Yes, prizes. So someone asked me about autonomy. Prizes, it's different prizes. So first of all, Rover design and build. The best built Rover there is a prize for the best built Rover. And I'm not saying the sickest looking. No, the actually best Rover to meet the requirements as a physical build. Not the sick. If you put like teeth on your Rover and like make it look like a Spitfire, you're not getting marks for that, please. Outreach, again, really big on outreach. If you have a program that's really making your Rover public and grabbing its attention, you have a prize from us. Innovation. If you come up with an innovative solution, and we have seen a lot on like the past, you will have a prize from us. Best CDR. CDR is a big deal, and we understand it might be for some of you here the second technical paper that you submit. If you give us the best CDR, you get points for that. Just saying. So put a lot of work into it. Do not keep it for the last minute. Trust me, it does not work. We had a bad CDR. Automation. Someone asked me about automation. So for automation, it's not a requirement. I repeat, please, it's not a requirement. But some teams did criticize that we're not like, for some reason, they said that we're not encouraging automation. This prize has been there since the whole competition started, which was in 2018 or 19. If you make an autonomous rover, which, by the way, is not easy and will take a lot of resources and time from you, but if you manage to pull it off, honestly, you will get a prize. There is a prize for that. But again, do not make it your initial requirement, please, because if you make it your initial requirement and you realize it's too late to focus on other requirements, you're not actually doing the right thing here. Because if you're aiming for only one prize here, that's not the way to win this competition. Because overall winner is the one that gets the most points. I'll tell you a funny story. On my competition, like when I did this installment, our team won none of these prizes. Not overall, not automation, not best CDR, none of them. And we got third place. People below us got, for example, the innovation thing or the best CDR thing. But we just gathered points. Like we got second here, third here, and we turned out third overall. Yes, I know I need to wrap it up.
We have the mentor introductions at peak off. So the moment this is going, you can run down.
Yes. Okay. Test format. The whole testing thing in Marsyard is going to be 30 minutes. And again, line of sight, please put cameras. I'm just telling you from now. Not just cameras, maybe sensors as well. It really depends on your engineering and your thought process here. Okay, another picture of the test layout with ramps and everything. So as you can see, control room over there, a lot of sites, a lot of one logistics depot, a lot of traveling to do. Incline to 350 millimeter flat, for example, a lot of stuff that you need to take into consideration here. Again, this picture will be supplied to you, given to you. Sorry. What's going on? Okay. Okay. Vibration. Sorry. So this is the scoring. One of the main things that you'll be scored on individually is the vibration. Again, it's a whole day just for the vibration test. It's a very important thing. Work on it as soon as you can because it takes time. It takes a lot of learning to do, a lot of research. You can look into this into more detail. Sorry, I'm running out of time. They told me I have a whole hour for this. This is why this whole thing is really long. Test run. Again, you get a chance to test run your Rover with up to 2,000 points maximum to get this. You can, so the full here is, the maximum score you can score here on the vibration test is 1,000, which basically means your Rover had no scratches on it, not one pin removed, nothing. If you do that, honestly, again, take my position UKSEDS. Send me your score sheet and I will give you my position UKSEDS. I promise you. Test run, I might regret that, by the way. Test run, maximum of 2,000 points. You can test your Rover, I believe it's up to 5, yeah. So you can test it for, I'm not sure for how many times. Again, this is all listed on the rules and requirements, but you can get only up to 2,000 points from the test runs. And you can only visit 5 remote sites. Again, another way we're scoring your Rover is how much it travels. Cargo delivered. By delivered, we mean within 50 centimeters. If you reach 50 centimeters from the site, which is basically S here. If you reach 50 centimeters from it, but you don't put the cargo into the slot, we count that as cargo delivered. We understand that putting the thing into the exact slot, it's going to be hard. You're going to figure that out by yourselves. Cargo not delivered, it differs. We're going to mark it differently. We're going to give you less marks for obvious reasons. You did not meet the requirements of the mission. Return journey. So basically from site to the logistics depot again. Another way, it's marked highly, more highly because the cargo is shaped in less standardized way. What do I mean by that? I'll get to that in a second. So requirements, again, there's different requirements, structures, mass, volume, vibration, power, propulsion, surface, communication. Again, if you have any questions, you're gonna get to email us. Cargo interface. So for this year, this is what your cargo is gonna look like. You're gonna be sent this. No need to take pictures. I'm sorry, but I really have to go. You're gonna get all this in the rules and requirements document. Oh, am I done? No, I'm not. Document. Yeah. So again, just to go over it, PDR, CDR, TRR, and probably, hopefully, you will have to submit monthly updates, just as how ESA would ask you if you're actually doing the thing. We will provide you with templates for all of them, so you're not going to start the whole thing from scratch. We will give you templates for PDR, CDR, not TRR, because it's just a video, again, on your iPad, on your on anything, really. If you just record it, please. Yes, that's the whole thing we're asking for. PDR, CDR, and PDR and CDR will have their templates. Don't worry about that. We'll give you a general idea of what you need to write. And I wish that was the case, but it's not. So no Q&A, but please, if you have follow-up questions, this is where you can take pictures, please. George Newton, myself as well, my email, I'll show it right now, or comps management. Yes, these are the emails that you can ask or send questions to. And yes, please go to the mentor thing. Sorry, I kept you late.